Welcome to Third and Long with me, Zane and Akash. Johnny and Matt have graduated and off to college and other things. So now we are the official host. Next week we will have probably two more hosts.
Yeah.
But Akash, tell me about yourself a little bit.
Well, unfortunately, for the last 17 years of my life, I have been a Bears fan.
Not great.
It's not been a great run. But yeah, born and raised in Chicago, moved out here. Do not like, Silicon Valley sports. Not a Giants fan. I'm a Cubs fan. And go Bears. Don't screw the Niners.
How do we feel about Caleb?
I've been watching Hard Knocks, and it's hard not to be sold. I'm taking him in our fantasy draft. Probably gonna reach for him.
Not if I get to him first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm literally not gonna let that happen. I'm taking him well above ADP. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody's been saying it. He's looking like one of the best arm talents the NFL's ever seen, and I'm inclined to believe it.
I think he's looking really good. His ability to get out of the pocket and still make the throws was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I would like to see from him is a little more consistency on a play-to-play basis. I was looking at his last game, and he obviously had that big completion to Odunze, and it was a good game for him. He got in the end zone with that rushing touchdown, but the two drives before that were both 3-and-outs. And I think he has the explosive playability, but I'm not sure how great of a pocket passer he is right now.
Okay. He also, right after the Dunze catch, he rolled out and juked out the D end, and he threw a perfect ball in the corner. But that guy got out.
Dunze was out of bounds.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Yeah, and I think another thing you're gonna see with the Bears is these growing pains. You got Odunze, you have Caleb Williams, new O coordinator, I believe. Yep. And so I think we're going to see some growing pains. I think the defense is going to be amazing this year. I know after we acquired Montez Sweat, we were the number 1 overall defense in the NFL past that point. So, I think there's a lot to be excited about with the Bears.
I think so too. One of the craziest stats I heard about Montez Sweat was he led both teams he played for in sacks last season. He's the first guy to ever do it.
How much of that is him being obviously he was great, but
I don't think both were great at rushing, but that's just crazy.
Yeah.
He led 2 different teams in sacks.
I was questioning the move. I saw that the 49ers gave up a 3rd-round pick for Chase Young, and I was pretty convinced. I'm an Ohio State fan also. You guys should know that.
Very big
I'm a
thing about
diehard Ohio State fan. I love them even more than the Bears probably, but yeah, so I was unconvinced because I love Chase Young. I think he's explosive. And I wasn't completely sure about Montez Sweat, but he fit right in the defensive scheme, man. I mean, he was arguably one of the best defensive players in the league down the stretch last year.
And in the backstretch, Chase Young looked lazy. He took plays off, and it didn't look great.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, part of me wonders how much of that is mentality and how much of that is just. He had the ACL. He was playing on a great D line. It's just how much motivation is there. You know? Yeah. I don't know, but he looked good in the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure he got a sack in the Super Bowl.
He might have. I don't know that for certain.
Yeah. I don't quote me on that, but yeah.
Speaking of Caleb, what are we looking at like the new quarterbacks in the NFL, the younger guys? How do we think they're taking over?
Okay, call me crazy, but I'm not sold on Jaden Daniels. I'm not. I think he's not durable. He's a string bean. Honestly, I can't really be talking look at these wrists, but I don't see it. I think he's like a less built RG3, and look at what happened to RG3.
Okay. And he lost a receiver today, right?
Yeah, he did. Jahan Dotson.
Who's the receiver one in
Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, that's true.
Look, I'm not sold on. I'm not sold on.
Too.
Yeah, he's with the Bills.
There's not
Curtis
a lot
Samuel
to work with there.
Sleeper. I think Curtis Samuel.
Someone on the Bills has to do good, right?
We're gonna see either Shakir, Knox, or Curtis Samuel doing good things.
I agree.
And Curtis Samuel's an Ohio State boy, so I'm pulling for him.
I think being able to be with Josh Allen will make someone produce very heavily.
So that actually leads me to another topic. What do we think of Josh Allen as the first overall QB?
I view him like I'm viewing like Herbert this season, where it's like there's just a lot less talent to work with. I think he's gonna have to make more superhero type plays, which are gonna lead to like crazy games. But he's also his interceptions, which they always complain are too high, are just gonna go higher.
I mean, okay, so I was thinking about this, and like I think people are saying that there's not a lot of talent on that team, and you lose a guy like Stephon Diggs, and it's true. It's not as good of a team. And Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis has so much talent. It's just not always used.
I know. But look, I think Zach Moss is going to develop a lot year 2. I mean, I'm looking to draft him in fantasy.
I think Jared Cook was one of the bigger reasons that they pulled back last season, because they were in a bad spot and made their way back.
I know. I think it's dumb to bet against Josh Allen.
True.
Now, would I take? So for those of you guys who don't know, our like friend group fantasy league is a little weird. We have a super flex spot. So our first round is basically all QBs and Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So like with the first overall, and McCaffrey, forgot about McCaffrey, but like first overall pick, I'd say your 3 main targets right now are Josh Allen, Mahomes, or McCaffrey. Like, who are you taking there?
I mean, Mahomes is like the safe one.
Yeah.
I've been hearing the stat a lot lately that whoever ended in first in fantasy, like player-wise, has never repeated.
I know, and that's something that I've been saying now for a lot of time is the number 1 overall pick in any draft. It's just not good value, right? Because you need to pick the number 1 overall player to get just even return on investment. So, like, we're doing a combine this year.
Yep.
I'm not saying I'm gonna self-sabotage myself, but I'm not going for the first overall pick.
I thought if you won, you got to choose where you went.
If that's how we're doing it, then yeah, I mean, maybe I will go to win, but I don't see the first overall pick, especially with. I mean, let's look at CeeDee Lamb, right? He's thinking about holding out. There's a lot of question marks.
And he got injured a little bit.
Yeah, and there's a lot of question marks in that first round. I don't know how the dynamic is between him and Jerry Jones. You know, and also you lose Pollard, you lose O lineman. I don't know how I feel about the Cowboys. I don't think they got better this offseason.
Is their starting back Zeke now?
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. I love Zeke, but he's past his prime.
I heard a crazy stat. I didn't fact check this one, but I'm pretty sure Zeke led the Patriots in receiving yards last season. With like 450.
Yeah. I mean,
wild.
I'm fading Ramondre Stevenson.
Like, that's not the move.
Yeah, he's not gonna stay healthy. He's not particularly explosive. But I am okay. So this actually brings me to one of my sleepers this year. One of my well-kept sleepers. So the fact that it's going on the podcast, not ideal. But Demario Douglas, I think he has a chance to emerge as the wide receiver 1 for obviously a less talented Patriots team. But I think Drake May is going to be good.
Do you think he's the starter?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why you would take him with the 3rd overall pick.
They also got Joe Milton or whatever.
Yeah,
right? I've been hearing Patriots fans are saying that Milton looks way better.
Yeah, but again, look at the amount of reps that they each had, right? Milton got to play 3 quarters of football. May was in there for 2 drives. And, I mean, in this last preseason game, I liked what I saw. You guys might meet Rasheal later. He's a diehard Patriots fan. If he ever hears me saying that, probably cooked. But, I think he's going to be maybe young Carson Wentz. I don't want to put too many I don't want to compare him too high. Obviously, you got that other
Prime Carson Wentz, so good.
I know. I mean, I don't think he's gonna be like MVP caliber. I have my own opinions on Drake May. I don't think he's that good, but I don't think he's a Caleb Williams. But I think he's going to be able to run that offense well. I think he's gonna have more success than Bryce Young last year. Also,
I think Bryce Young was put in a horrible situation. I actually think Bryce Young's gonna do a lot better this year.
I don't believe it. Look. Again, this might be the Ohio State fan in me speaking, but Alabama QBs, come on, man. That also, and the fact that he's 5'10".
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't look. There have not been a lot of under 6 foot QBs in the NFL. As a short king,
Drew Brees, Russell
that kills
Wilson.
me. Yeah, okay. So I was about to bring up Drew Brees, right? Drew Brees got away with being short because of 2 things. He released the ball super quick, and he didn't really take hits.
Yep.
And so he was able to maintain his health. He was super accurate through a lot of short passes. People always Mickey Mouse that Michael Thomas season, receiving yards are receiving yards, and he went to Ohio State.
Yeah, but Breeze had a cannon, and that was his main thing. He had the highest yards per pass most of the time.
Yeah, but I wonder how much of that is yards after catch.
Yeah,
but,
probably. I think he's one of 12 players ever to have a 5,000-yard season.
Yeah, that's probably.
I think he had 2.
I mean, I think Drew Brees it just was a top 5 QB.
Yeah.
Ever probably. I think if he's not top 5, then definitely top 10.
I think he needs one more Super Bowl to get up there.
Yeah, I mean.
And it had a scandal around it, makes it a bit hard to give him
Yeah,
that.
but what was the scandal? It was that Peyton was paying players to hit
to injure the other players, do it dirty.
Dude.
Yeah,
it's football. It's football. So that's another thing. Like, I'm sure you saw the Tom Brady clip in the offseason of him going off on how soft the NFL has become.
Yeah,
I agree with him. Look, I'm this may be hypocritical coming from a 5'9" Indian guy, sitting in a chair and not actually playing. Yeah, I measured. Hey, we're rounding up. But I just look, if you're signing up to play football, you're signing up to play a physical game. And I think a lot of what makes football entertaining is like the Brian Dawkins and the Cam Chancellors that are laying absolutely filthy hits, right?
I mean, agree.
Now you limit a DB and a defensive player's ability to sack the QB, which they're more tentative, they're less aggressive. I think that leads to more offense, which maybe is not a bad thing, but I think everybody loves some good defense. And also you limit their ability to tackle now with banning the hip drop tackle. I mean, what are we doing?
I saw statistics on that where it's like the actual percentage of tackles that are hip drop is like just over like 1%. It's way less common than you would think it is.
To me, though, it's a precedent.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of something.
It'll just keep going down. When we talk to our kids about football, it'll be such a different game.
I know.
But the thing I want to bring up is Brady's a hypocrite. No one other than Mahomes, because Mahomes is the now Brady. No one else got more like roughing the passer calls than Brady. No one else got hit less than Brady. No one else fumbled and just got given it back because they felt like it because the refs wanted to give it to him. So out of all people, for him
justice for the Raiders.
Out of all people, for him to complain that the game's gotten too soft when he got favored by softness is a bit hard to listen to.
I'm gonna bring one. Like I'm not a particularly big fan of Tom Brady. I think he's a cheater, but I hate winners. But
it's so hard to enjoy a team that beats you all the time.
I know. But look, one thing he said in that conference or whatever, that press game.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Cut this. But is that they were taught to avoid those hits. So two things that I think we want to think about just to think of the validity of those stats is, one, was he putting himself in a position to get that call from the ref or avoid contact to stay healthy? And then two, what was his O-line situation? I mean, I think the Patriots always did a good job of having a good supporting cast around him. So I do think it's a little hypocritical, but also I think he played in an era of football where people were particularly aggressive. So even if he benefited from positive calls from the refs or something like that, I still think the fact that he played in that era and he succeeded in that era allows him to make claims like that.
I fully agree. I'm talking about like being in position to like dodge tackles and stuff. I remember we went to the Niners-Bengals game last year. I think it was like week 12 or 13, somewhere around there. You can watch the film, but there's one where they fully get Burrow, and the D end is just like waiting for them to call the whistle because he has him. And Burrow escapes and throws like a 40-yard pass. And that's a sack like every time if
I know
the rules aren't different. Like the D end is waiting for the whistle to be called because he's trying not to get a penalty.
Yeah.
He like slows up, and then there were so many broken tackles in that game by the QB.
Yeah. It's just, look, I mean, I think that's the problem though with a lot of these is we think of nostalgia. And for our generation it's harder because this is the brand of football that we've grown up in.
Yep.
But, I think a lot of the ideal version of football that we think of comes from, at least for me, it's like what my dad tells me and what your dad tells me.
Yeah.
And we just, like I'm sure that there were problems, you know, with football back then that people were complaining about. Like they always say this about SNL.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of off topic, but people always are like, SNL hasn't been good since the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, I watched a video that, like, you know, kind of broke down.
It
was Drew Gooden. Yeah, it was Drew Gooden.
Yep.
SNL wasn't even that good in the 90s. like what are we doing?
There's a lot of stars that went to became
I
popular, but they weren't popular at the
I
time. They
know.
weren't like amazing.
It wasn't particularly funny either. So, you know, I think we just look back and we remember fondly. But there are a lot of special moments in this generation. Like, do you remember that divisional round with Chiefs Bills? That's probably the craziest football game I've ever seen. Well, I went to Ohio State, Utah Rose Bowl.
I remember that.
You know, JSN, 350 receiving yards.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was a great game. But so, you know, we had the Jags. Who were they playing?
Was it the Patriots?
It might have been. No, it was Bucks. It was Bucks Niners. No.
Oh,
Niners,
Bucks
Packers.
Rams, right?
Bucks Rams, Niners Packers. Whatever. That all four of those games came down to like game-winning field goals or last-minute plays. I know the Bengals got a win there. Bengals Ravens was one. Bengals Ravens.
There was that
Niners,
forced fumble
Packers.
that like went all the way back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That was Ohio State player Sam Hubbard.
Yep.
Sam Hubbard. Yeah.
Very good. Underrated guy.
I know. I love his Madden cards. Yeah, no, that I think there are a lot of great memories. I mean, okay, so this is one thing that I was thinking about, and I've heard a lot of controversy around this. You know, whether or not the Seahawks should have run the ball.
Yep.
And you know, I read something that made me think it was the right decision to pass that ball.
What'd you read?
Well, okay, so think about it, right? Where it was first and goal. It was second and
goal from the
second
two.
and goal
Yep.
from the 2, right? You have maximum of 3 downs, second, third, and fourth down, right? And you have 30 seconds left on the clock, and
There's
one
20
timeout.
with one timeout.
20 with one timeout, right? So you want to maximize the amount of attempts that you have.
Yeah.
Throw the ball first.
Yeah.
Instantly stop the clock. If you score the touchdown, you're a hero. Like 95% of the time, it's an incompletion, right? That was just a crazy play. And I heard another thing is that the corner, I forget his name.
Malcolm Butler.
Well, no, the other one. Yeah. He was great that year. But he tipped off Malcolm Butler. They like saw that play, they studied that play, and he was like, "Yo, you need to jump this route."
The coach, Belichick, in practice, they played against that exact play.
Exactly.
And he got his ass beat, and he was like, Malcolm Butler, like, you need to play better on this one in this exact situation.
And then in that, like, right before the ball was snapped and they motioned the receiver, I forget that corner's name, but he told Malcolm Butler, he was like, "Yo, you need to get your ass." Oh,
was it Darrelle Revis?
it wasn't Darrelle Revis. I don't think I can say, but you know, you need to get your butt there. You need to pick that ball off, or you need to cut that ball off, right? So that was a great defensive play. That was a good offensive play call with a better defensive play.
I had this argument like 2 days ago, so this is perfect. I rewatched the clip. There are 9 guys in the box.
Yeah, see, everybody thinks you're going to run the ball.
And if you pause the clip at like the moment that Russell Wilson is letting go of the ball, the receiver's wide open. Doug Baldwin is in a perfect spot, but he thought he was so open, he wasn't paying attention for the corner, so he slowed down. And if you watch the contact, you don't fly like that from a hit like that unless you have no clue it's coming.
Yeah.
He was fully lost in the situation and was just shocked that a guy came.
I know.
And that ball getting intercepted is 1 in 100.
I know, exactly.
It was such a perfect.
I think I saw something that said the percent chance of an interception there is literally 1%.
They don't talk about that if the ball gets dropped or it's caught for a touchdown.
Exactly.
I think
if it's caught for a touchdown, that's one of the.
I think it's called. I think that's one of the most unfair like judgments we've ever had.
Exactly. And you know, I think a lot of it goes around like you know I don't want to say the aura, but you know the attitude of that team. You know, they weren't necessarily united behind Russ, and I think a lot of that played into the Russ is a very controversial figure, Mr. Unlimited, but unlimited. But you know, I think that was a fine throw. He was a great QB then. I mean, I think he's gonna be good with the Steelers,
one of the greatest plays ever in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl. 2 plays before to get them there is almost completely forgotten.
Wait, you know who it was? It was like
Was it Doug Baldwin?
no, it was Browning something.
Yeah.
That corner. I forget what his name was. I'll look it up. Wait. Let me get the name right now. Yeah, so Brandon Browner, right? He great QB or great cornerback that year. He's the one I think he's lost in the sauce, you know. He doesn't get a lot of the credit, but I mean there were like that was a crazy time for the Seahawks, you know? Like I think it was the next year when they had that crazy comeback against the Packers.
Oh, yeah.
Where they got the onside kick.
Yeah.
And then Jermaine Kearse made that crazy catch.
They were in position to three-peat.
I know.
They just choked it.
I know. I mean, that Broncos Super Bowl was so brutal.
And speaking of guys who get lost in important plays, I thought about this the other day. It was one of the guys that was part of the Philly special, but it wasn't Nick Foles or the guy who threw it. It was one of the other 2 guys that like got in the handoff. You don't ever think of those guys.
You don't.
I mean, they ran with the ball in one of the most famous plays in Super Bowl history.
I know. It's
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, I feel like that's like a theme throughout history. Like, the immaculate reception. Lynn Swann caught that ball. That was a lot of Lynn Swann. But like
Franco Harris.
Oh yeah, Franco Harris. Wait, Lynn Swann was.
He was receiver for the Steelers. He had the Swan dive.
Yeah. Okay. But what about the guy who threw it? You know,
Terry Bradshaw.
He deserves some credit there. I think.
I think that's the only play he doesn't. Terry Bradshaw is one of the most interesting ones because I mean he's one of the only guys to win 4 Super Bowls. I think there's like 2 or 3 others, but his teams were so good that they just don't count him.
Yeah, I mean I feel like the Steelers are a franchise that should have more Super Bowls. Like, obviously, they got the 4 with Bradshaw.
We should have won this one.
Oh, I know.
Miserable
the Packers
loss.
won. That's crazy. You guys had so many scoring opportunities in that game. So, your defense played great. I don't think you can blame that on the defense.
One of the bad things about Big Ben's career that no one really talks about except for Steeler fans, he never really played great in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He had it in the best drive in NFL history against the Cardinals.
But
the rest of that season, or the rest of that game, not great. His first Super Bowl, after the interview, they asked him, they're like, "What are you like? How are you feeling?" He's like, "I'm just upset. I didn't play better. I want to get back here to prove that I'm better than this."
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand how the Steelers didn't get back there with Brown and Bell.
It was because you can't name a single person on the secondary. They were horrible.
They were bad.
We let up 40 points a game. We had to score 45 to win.
Dude, I just then there's also that was it Heath Miller?
Jesse James.
Jesse James. That's a catch. That was a catch.
It was a catch.
That was a catch.
It was a catch.
Yeah.
He was on the ground, full possession. He was already. He's either down or he scored. There was no incomplete in there.
So much stuff, so much crazy stuff happened. Like the perfect hit.
Yeah.
The Steelers, the 2010 Steelers was a really fun group, but
it was so much pain.
Really unlucky.
In 2010, first play of overtime, Tim Tebow threw a 70-yard touchdown against us for Emmanuel Sanders. Oh.
Yeah. Real ones remember the Tim Tebow Campus Heroes card, Madden.
Tim Tebow's that guy.
Yeah, I think he was great.
I think he was pushed out of the league for being too Christian.
He was,
like really.
He was the one decent guy on that Florida team, bro. Like what? Urban Meyer kicks his kickers and cheats on his wife.
Yep.
Like Aaron Hernandez was on that team.
There was I think 54. Yeah, something like that. Wild stat.
And then there's Tim Tebow, who's just a good little celibate boy. It's crazy. Yeah, I think I'm surprised he didn't get more chances in the NFL. That actually reminds me Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler has a really curious NFL career because he had success with the Broncos, and then he had talent with.
Dude, he was good with the Bears. That team just wasn't great.
I mean, I think we had so many pieces. So I moved here in 2016 from Chicago. So growing up and going to Soldier Field, I would see Alshon Jeffries, Brandon Marshall, Jay Cutler, Jabril Peppers.
Yeah.
Wait, was it Jabril? No, it was
Julius.
Julius, yeah, it was Julius. Charles Tillman, those were some great teams, and I was born in 2006, so the year we
Yep.
lost the Super Bowl to the Colts, and that I don't actually remember who our QB was. It wasn't Cutler. It was before Cutler. But we've been cursed. Like they never had a QB pass for over 4,000 yards in a season.
I've heard that Chicago in general has been cursed by the Jordan years. I mean, the Cubs won.
Cubs cut and
2016, right?
Bulls probably should have gotten one. You know.
Derrick Rose's leg was the sacrifice for the Jordan
Dude.
wins, you know?
I mean, look, he was not gonna be as good as Jordan, but that Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Jimmy Butler,
Jimmy Butler. We
Taj
met him
Gibson.
the other day.
Yeah. Oh my God. We did meet him. That was
really
crazy.
cool.
He was just getting breakfast.
Yeah.
I look, feel bad because we kind of yanked him out of breakfast, but
He was leaving. It was fine.
yeah.
We're good people.
And he knew it was best first day of school ever.
For sure.
Yeah. You know, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah. He said
Out of-
he's a Bulls fan. So
Out of
I
all the
think
athletes
I
we
think
would have
keep
met,
him.
I would have never guessed it would Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think Zane, you know I do this a lot. I take credit for athletes that
Yep.
look, Burrow's an Ohio State QB.
Not even close. But okay.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He said
spent
himself
a year
that
at
he's
Ohio
not.
State.
He said himself that
he
he's
said
not.
then when he was struggling, he said it's something about how it was because of Ohio State. Like his years at Ohio State or something like that caused him to struggle now. I don't know, some goofy stuff, something goofy like that. But I mean, look,
Is
don't
Burrow your
be,
best QB ever? If you count him.
No, it's gonna be Stroud. I think
Okay.
it's gonna be Stroud. That which takes me to another debate. You think you seriously believe C.J. Stroud is worse than Jordan Love?
100%.
Crazy.
I thought Jordan Love was
outland wild.
I said it on mic multiple times. I thought they were winning the Super Bowl last year.
Look, the Packers.
Yes.
Crazy.
They were up on the Niners at half.
I don't
The
care. That Niners team
going to
was
that
way
game-
too talented.
going to-
Also, pause. Let me finish my point here.
Okay.
Okay. Look, the wide receiver room was good. I will say that Packers wide receiver room was good. But the defense, dude, who was reliable on that defense besides Jair Alexander?
Both their edge rushers were insane. Rashad Gary and Preston Smith, both insanely underrated guys that have been in the league forever. Devondre Campbell is one of the best middle linebackers that no one talks about.
Look, I just won. Okay.
They're the youngest team in the NFL.
Look, okay, that's a good point. I don't think that they have the maturity level to get there. Two, that team was injured.
Yeah.
Like the O-line, they lost. They don't have Bakhtiari anymore, or he was injured last year.
Yeah, he might have retired.
He might have
He's old.
retired. Yeah, but we're looking at this today. We put it in ChatGPT to see who was better, which I still think that's like a great way to evaluate.
I agree with you the other day on something, and this is a different situation. I don't
Oh,
agree with
this
you
was
on.
Justin Fields, Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another thing. Rasheal is complete Patriots glazer. He believes that Mac Jones was better.
Our friend
than Justin
Rasheal, whatever
Fields.
opinion he has, is the wrong one.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
You could pretty much just go against it.
Betting against him will earn you
It's
so
pretty
much
safe.
money.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of, okay, betting. Quick side note: Do we have any sneaky bets for this season? I saw 9.5 touchdowns for Derrick Henry.
I think Derrick Henry's going to have a way worse season than people are
Really?
thinking.
Dude,
Watch film of him last year. He's so much slower.
it doesn't matter. He weighs 250 pounds, probably more than that.
And he's getting to the point where he's not moving. 2 seasons ago.
No, but I just think there's gonna by sheer amount of opportunity in the red zone, he's gonna get 10 touchdowns. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna take him in fantasy because he's gonna get probably no receptions, and Lamar is gonna vulture.
The Ravens are such an
15
interesting team
touchdowns.
because I think they've led the league in rushing yards the last 2 seasons with like neither of the running backs getting over 1,000
Gus
yards.
Edwards, dude.
Neither of them did-
Justice for J.K. Dobbins. He's a great running back.
That guy killed me so many times.
He killed me last year. I swear to God. Okay, my fantasy team was not a bad team. I just forgot to account for the Achilles heel. Okay, like
Ravens
not
running backs are
like
the cancer of a team.
Yeah, not even metaphor. Like, it was my like literally the Achilles. I had Aaron Rodgers and J.K. Dobbins. Both of them tore their Achilles. Like crazy. I was so sold on Rodgers after Hard Knocks last year. Like completely sold. I took him as my second QB. I had Lamar and Aaron Rodgers last year. Like super flex league. Also keep in mind, don't draft 2 QBs that are that good. But yeah, I mean just criminal. So sad.
But I remember last year, the Steelers needed the Titans to win a game, the final game of the season, for the Steelers to make the playoffs. And I remember watching, it was Titans-Jaguars.
Trevor
Trevor played
Lawrence.
horrible and threw like 4
Yeah.
picks was the main reason. But Derrick Henry had the worst 100-yard rushing game I think I've ever seen.
What, like 2.5 yards a carry or something like that?
He had like a 40-yard rush where like it was like the Beast
yeah.
Quake instead of like, but like it looked like JV people were tackling instead of like
Yeah.
great running.
Well, that's what
But
Derrick
he's-
Henry does. He makes NFL defenders look like JV defenders.
He downgraded so much. 3 years ago, he
Oh,
had
one of the best
fastest
backs.
run in the season. Like the highest speed
Yeah.
reached was
It's the
Derrick Henry,
momentum.
which
Yeah.
is insane for his build.
Yeah.
He's not that guy anymore.
I just see. I completely agree with you. He's not that guy. I don't know if it matters. I just don't think it matters.
The Ravens are such an interesting team because like
yeah.
they always talk about how Lamar's never really had anyone to go to. His only really good receiver he's ever
Dude.
had is Mark
Mark
Andrews, who
is
isn't even a
not that
receiver. He plays
good.
tight end.
He's not that good. I just don't
I
believe
think
he's
he
that
is.
good.
He's so good.
Dude,
Um,
I had him in fantasy last year.
Yeah.
He got injured.
But last year they got Zay Flowers, and they were like, he actually has good people to go to. But
Don't
then
think he's that good.
I also heard people be like, dude, that team is still trash. There's still no one to go to. And I don't understand how it could be both.
I mean, okay, look, if you're looking statistics wise, okay, like looking statistics wise, I don't know if Lamar deserves the MVP.
He doesn't.
But I think he does a lot more for his team than stats can account for.
I think he's
Like the fact that he is the best running back on that team.
I think both of his MVPs are fraudulent.
That 2019 season was amazing.
Russ played way better in every category.
Oh,
Dude, Lamar was like
Russ.
20th in passing. He was like way down there in touchdowns.
he sells tickets. He's exciting.
Does
He's
Dak
more
Prescott not sell
exciting-
tickets? Who put up better stats in every category other than rushing? Does he not sell
Dak
tickets?
Prescott doesn't deserve it. Come on.
He put up better stats in every way,
It
and their team had
doesn't.
his team had like 1 or 2 less wins.
Dak Prescott doesn't have the aura for an MVP. Okay, you know, young Lamar, 2019 Lamar, explosive. That spin move against the Bengals.
It-
I was a complete Lamar hater back then. By the way, like
He's not that guy. He's
I think he has the I think he is based on talent wise, he deserved that MVP. And based on stats
Probably.
that you can't quantify.
Here's something to look at. Quarterbacks over time, which I'm not saying Lamar is one of these, that is better at running than they are passing, after a certain amount of time, get figured out. For example,
Dude.
the Steelers have Lamar figured out. His stats against the Steelers in, I think, 8 games is 4 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and 3 fumbles. That is horrible.
Okay, but then let's
He
take
hasn't
that a
scored
step
over 20
further, right?
points since 2019 against the Steelers.
Because if the league had really figured out Lamar,
They haven't yet, but I'm saying
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's
but
not
the
coming.
it's the same thing with the Eagles and the Niners, right? We've been talking about this.
I think the
the
Eagles are
Niners-
figured out. I think the Eagles are going to struggle.
Yeah, the Niners figured out Hurts, and for the rest of the season, they were a mediocre team at best,
Yeah.
right? Why didn't the same thing happen to Lamar?
They haven't figured him out yet. I'm saying it.
If
It still might
really
happen.
had figured him out, I think
All we do is
would
win.
be done now. I mean, yeah, you guys go what 9-8 every year.
Against the Ravens,
Oh yeah, against the Ravens, yeah.
we own them.
Yeah. I mean, again, there have been a lot of like extenuating circumstances though. Like you guys played a couple close games against Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
One against RG3.
That's just because in those games, no one scores points.
Yeah, it's like a defensive brawl. But again, like another thing is, I mean, I don't know. You could probably fact check this, but weather in those games, I feel like weather plays a big factor.
There was a 1 or 2 rainy ones. There was a snowy one, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think taking his stats against the Steelers and
But I'm saying
projecting them, I think he's a great QB.
he's been proven that if you force him to do the things he's not good at, he's not
But
that
that's
great.
what I
but
think
the other
makes
teams
him
haven't figured out how to
unique.
do it yet.
What I think makes him unique is that he is a good passer. Maybe he doesn't get a perfect spiral, and maybe he doesn't throw the ball particularly hard, but his placement, the way he moves in the pocket, and his deep balls, and most of the passes he makes are very good. Like, I think he's a great QB.
I agree. Before we end it, we cut past what I was trying to say earlier. The reason I thought the Packers were going to win is because at that point in the season, Purdy had never been down in a game and won in his entire career.
Yeah.
All I was saying is if they were able to get a lead, they were able to win it. And they did get a lead. And then they did nothing in that back half, and Love imploded,
Yeah.
which did happen. And I I'm very
Look,
upset about it.
C.J. Stroud didn't do anything particularly better.
No,
in
the
playoffs.
Ravens were just a better team.
Yeah.
It's hard to look
But
at.
I remember, I think in one of my brackets I picked the Texans
But-
going all the way.
But that Packers team literally had a good chance of going to the Super Bowl because if they won, they would have played the Lions, who they already had beat, I think, twice. And then I don't know if they would have won the Super Bowl. My argument was to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just
They were very, very close, and they're the youngest team in the league.
I'm gonna bring out the undefeatable argument. They didn't have the aura for it. You know, Justin Fields
Love has
though.
the most.
If
Love
he-
has so much aura.
If no, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He's like
Got more than Caleb.
a lie. You guys can see it on camera. Start the trend. This means lie. Okay.
Don't
Yeah.
do that.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it.
I
but
think it's a great place.
yeah.
Hey,
I mean,
thank you for watching.
yeah.
Third and long with me and Akash.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to hear.
Hey, we're gonna have an expanded cast next week. Come back. Lots more to talk about. Hey.
See ya.